spokesman for the group, Ali Navari, joins me now, along with Florida Congressman Michael Waltz. Congressman Waltz, you've brought our attention to this and, of course, connecting us to Ali here. Give us a little bit of an introduction about the nature of it. We've got some great stories here. There's American press is covering the heroism that is happening in that valley right now. What can you tell us about it?
Well, the Panjshir Valley and the brave fighters that are there fighting right now, as we speak, a Taliban offensive, were never conquered by the Soviet army, were never conquered by the Taliban at their height in the 90s, and we have to support them in not being conquered now. They are standing for freedom. They are standing against extremism. They know, as Biden's own intelligence community has briefed us in Congress, that the Taliban equals al-Qaeda, and that terrorism that happens in Afghanistan doesn't stay in Afghanistan. It will spread. But Biden is going down the road of recognizing a Taliban, al-Qaeda Islamic Emirate. And if we in Congress are going to stop it, we're going to take a page out of Charlie Wilson's war. We all remember Charlie Wilson and his support of the freedom fighters, and Congress will lead if this administration won't. That
is really good to hear, because we know Haqqani is al-Qaeda. This is a rogue. Element. They're not legitimate. They've displaced a legitimate government, and we're behaving as though an election happened. Nobody wants this. Certainly, Mr. Navari, thank you very much for being here. Speaking of nobody wanting this, the team in the Panjshir Valley clearly are an indication of that. Tell us what is exactly you're experiencing on the ground, what your colleagues are experiencing there.
Thank you for having me on this show. Unfortunately, the narrative that's being conveyed by many is that we're fighting a civil war, that this is a civil war in Afghanistan, which we're completely against. The fight that we're a part of at the moment is a global struggle against transnational terrorism. Right now, in the front lines, there's Arabs, there's Pakistanis, there's Central Asians fighting on behalf of the Taliban against the National Resistance Front. So we have al-Qaeda right now and many other terrorist groups in the front line fighting against the National Resistance Front. We feel abandoned because we're right now fighting a war against terror. However, we have no allies. We're the last remaining U.S. allies inside Afghanistan. We're not being supported. There's no one by our side to help us against transnational terrorism at the moment. And we're going to continue our struggle to preserve democracy, to preserve the rights and freedom of everyone in Afghanistan, and to bring justice and to defeat terrorism till the end.
Sir, specifically, Joe Biden clearly is in front of this debacle that you are facing, that the world is facing. Do you hold him personally responsible for this?
Well, I believe better policies could have been adopted when it came to Afghanistan. Right now, terrorism still exists. The threat of terrorism is much greater compared to 2001. We have emboldened al-Qaeda, emboldened ISIS-K, emboldened Taliban, and they're going after us. However, we're left alone to fight against terrorism and to resist and to defend ourselves.
Well, let me tell you, I think with Congressman Waltz, your attitude, sir, that you are not going to let this continue in this fashion is helpful and at least inspiring for all of us. And now many Americans, perhaps a few million, know what the situation is, and I appreciate both of you being here tonight. Thank you very much. And God bless you and continue with your great work. But everyone, say a prayer for this group of people. An extraordinary time in our lives. Thank you, gentlemen.